Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is CJ Henry, and we're going to get together today to chat a little bit about ConnectALL's integration with Salesforce to Jira. I want to make sure that you guys can see my screen. Should have a few folks on. If you guys can't see it, you can post a comment in the Q&A or the chat and let me know. But so we'll go ahead and get started. As I mentioned, my name is CJ Henry. I'm a senior solutions architect for ConnectALL. And the goal today is to talk about our Salesforce to Jira integration. And while there's a lot of different ways you can integrate Salesforce to Jira through ConnectALL, what we're going to focus on today is a scenario where Salesforce is the front end or the portal for customers to submit information, and then that information being processed into Jira so that folks can immediately see that in the development pipeline and start doing the evaluations and requirement writing and what's necessary to make that customer's request, whether it be a new enhancement or a bug or something that they can then immediately start working with that on. So just to give you a little background or little highlights on ConnectALL, it is a integration platform. We have over 30 tool-specific adapters that allow us to do real-time integration between tools. So, you know, Jira to Salesforce, or maybe Azure DevOps to Micro Focus ALM, those kind of things. We also have a very exciting and very robust universal adapter that lets you integrate basically anything that has an API with anything else. And we have, which you'll see here in a little bit, we have a value stream visualizer. So value stream and value stream management's a big thing in the software market right now, software industry. We have a visualizer in the product that allows you to see your value stream and see how your tools fit together. And we also have a very robust and exciting analytics platform that allows you to take all of that data from the tools you're integrating and display it so that you can get lead time and cycle times and merge your financial data with your project data. As I mentioned, you know, inside of our product, we have a dashboard that allows you to see your integrations, see what's going on, see that visualization. You can build those integrations, manage those connections, how, you know, the field mappings, how those tools fit together, what kind of data is being synced back and forth. We have reporting inside of the product that will allow you to see how active is that integration, how much data is flowing, how often is the data flowing. And then, as I mentioned just a second ago, we also have a separate metrics analytics platform that will allow you not focused on what's happening in your integration, but what's happening in your organization. And again, that value stream management and understanding where you're getting value and where you're losing value in your organization from idea to production release. So as I mentioned, today's goal or today's scenario, we're going to talk about Salesforce to Jira. And in this case, the customer is submitting a Salesforce case requesting something. And we're going to see how that in near real time flows into a Jira epic through ConnectALL. And then in that Jira epic, as you know, the team reviews it. They can break that down into stories, things of that nature, but they can also update that epic in Jira, and we'll see how that update flows back into Salesforce. Allowing the customer to get feedback and information from the development team, and the development team to get information from the customer in real time. So I'm going to drop out of this PowerPoint and let's get here. So what you're looking at here is our ConnectALL application, and specifically is our value stream visualizer. So you can see in this organization, we have a number of applications going on, integrated together and connecting from Salesforce to version 1 to Jira, Sonar, GitHub, ALM. All of those are talking to each other to give the organization real-time information and keep the teams connected and working seamlessly. And as that's happening, that data is also flowing down into our analytics data model so that we can, through a BI tool, we can start reporting out metrics and things of that nature. But what we want to focus on today is this Salesforce to Jira epic item here. So this particular integration is allowing us to, when a Salesforce case is created, that immediately becomes an epic in Jira and the teams can look at it. So I'm going to jump in here and just show you guys, search for that. We got Salesforce here. So just to give you guys an idea of how that integration is set up, we've connected a Salesforce instance to a Jira instance here, and you can see that we've identified the case from Salesforce to go to the epic of this particular Jira project. We have the ability to define date formatting. We also have the ability to build in filtering if you want, define the cadence at which this happens. So I currently have it set for every minute, but maybe you want it to run every hour or once a day or something of that nature. You can modify that so that ConnectALL will run and sync the data on your reference. Down here, you'll see we have the fields that are mapped. I started with a very basic mapping. We've got description, priority, status. For information here, we're taking the case number and we're tying that to the epic name, and we're taking the case origin out of Jira, and we're passing that back to Salesforce. So you can see here we've mapped some fields. We have bidirectional, we have unidirectional here. You'll also notice, like, take priority. We have the ability to do value mapping. So I've mapped high to low, or high to high, low to low, etc. If I get in here to statuses, you can see I've done the same thing. So this allows us and actually status is a great example where we have different tools with different statuses, different workflows. We have the ability to map those together so that we know new equals to do or working equals in progress, and make sure that when the data is flowing over, it's flowing over to the next tool in a language that tool understands and that the team using that tool is familiar with. So I'm going to go ahead and jump in here, and we're going to create, let's go ahead and create a new case ticket. So I have my Salesforce up here. I've got a new ticket. I'm going to create, let's give it a subject. So let's say customer wishes to have, let's say, credit card management on the website. Oops, I can't spell there. Let's go back. Ability to manage our credit card, let's say, limits through the customer portal. So this may be a request that's coming from the customer. You've used Salesforce to make that your front end. They've submitted that. So I'm going to go ahead and, oops, I forgot my case origin here. Let's go ahead and say it was by the phone. We're going to go ahead and hit save on that. And so you'll notice here, we've created a new case ticket, case 1030. If I come back into ConnectALL, what you'll notice is this activity stream here. Currently, as you saw before, this is set up on 1 minute syncing. So if you give it a moment here, as ConnectALL will make the call, and you'll notice that there'll be an entry here for that Salesforce item to flow over to that Jira epic. And then we'll be able to go into Jira and actually see that issue represented as an epic, and we'll be able to view all of the same data and make any necessary changes. Try to get the meeting thing out of the way. So I'm going to go ahead and let's see here. Oh, there we go. So you can see here, we've created a Salesforce. So this is our integration we created. And here's this is that ID number that Salesforce uses behind the scenes. And you can see that it's become PDone7159. So if I jump over here to Jira, and I've already got my search set up for simplicity today, I'm gonna go ahead and research, and you'll notice here, PDone7159. And you can see that the customer wishes to have credit card management information. If I click on this, here's my portal or my description information that came directly out of ServiceNow. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and add some additional description here. We'll do something silly here. Please make portal, oops, backdrop blue as well. Save. But we're going to go ahead and let's go ahead and put this in progress. So we're going to say the team's gotten it. They've started looking at the epic. They're starting to define what that epic means and what the work's going to have to be involved. Maybe start creating some stories and things of that nature. So if I come back in here to ConnectALL, and for the sake of today's effort, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to look up this Salesforce sync here, Salesforce case to Jira Epic, and I'm going to go ahead and force the sync now option instead of us having to wait that full 60 seconds. And so I've gone ahead and forced the sync, and so ConnectALL is going out. They're looking for that information, and what we're going to get here is an update message letting us know that those changes we made in Jira have been picked up and are being updated back into Salesforce. And we'll be able to go into Salesforce and see that, oh, there we go, updated Salesforce. So you can see PDone7159, and it's gone back to that Salesforce ID number. So if I come into Salesforce, I'm going to go ahead and refresh my screen here. And so if you look, there's been a case update. You notice here that the status changed from new to working. Also, if I scroll down over here, you'll notice in the description field, it now says, please make backdrop blue as well. So you can see that we have the connection going, data's flowing back and forth. And so now what this allows it to do is the customer can submit new enhancement, can submit feature requests. Those requests are automatically ported over to Jira for the development teams to see and start working on. And then as the teams start working on it and progress starts to happen on that new request, maybe in this case, we went ahead and decided to do the work, but maybe the development team says, you know what, that's not something we're going to do. It's not feasible in our application or in our business model. So they cancel it. Either way, that information is ported back into Salesforce, for the customer to get updates. There's other great ways that you could do this, other great possibilities that could happen here. Maybe you've got your sales team, your account reps using Salesforce to track software sales. We have the ability where as they create this information, this could flow over as an account rep closes the deal with a customer. Maybe they create a Salesforce item that flows into Jira for the deployment team to know that, hey, customer X has finally purchased the software. We're now ready to go deploy and do training and do the things that need to be done to get the customer successful with their software. Another option is maybe you're using Jira and Jira Service Desk to manage customer support tickets, and a customer reports a production bug. If I go back in here to ConnectALL, and if I go to my Salesforce, oops, there we go. And I'm going to modify this time. And we'll be able to see all of the details that the ability to change and modify things as needed. But in the example I was mentioning, maybe what happens is that production ticket comes into Jira, and the development team starts to work on it, and maybe they upgrade the priority to critical. We have the ability in here to do filtering. So if this was a Jira to Salesforce integration, we could have that production ticket, when it becomes critical, it creates a case ticket in Salesforce. So now the account rep knows that, hey, my customers submitted a critical ticket. Let me reach out to them and kind of smooth the waters, make sure they're okay, make sure they're getting what they need, and allow them to touch base and make sure that the customer stays happy, or make sure the account rep is aware of the situation. So there's a number of different ways that you can do these integrations, a lot of different capability and great things you can get out of connecting Salesforce and Jira that will help your company for everybody on all sides of the fence to stay informed of what's happening, and for the folks for them to stay informed in real time. So some of the other things you can do in here, I built this integration for the sake of speed in today's webinar, but if you look here, this is the same screen you would see when you're doing a build from scratch. So you have your 3 easy steps. You have your connection up here. So I can build a connection. In this case, I've got Salesforce to Jira. I can get into my entity mapping, and this is where you're going to find what kind of artifacts. So in this case to Epic. You're going to define the projects. You're going to define your filters if you want. You're going to define create and update, and then ultimately your scheduling. And then lastly, you have your field mapping section where you can get into actually mapping the fields. One of the great things about this that we've added to ConnectALL, if you look here, this is a long list of fields. Nobody wants to sort through this list and look for the specific field. So what we've done is we've added the ability to do searches. So if I type tag up here, it jumps directly to tag in that list. If I type, let's type create or the starts of create. Look, I've got created and creator. So this is a great way when you have an application with a lot of fields, you can sort through and find what you're looking for. You'll also notice here in the Jira instance, we have two required fields here, sorry. We identify them in red with an asterisk. So they jump out at you. If you're scrolling through this list, that red pops out at you and you know, hey, I've got a required field I need to work on and set up. You can also define which direction you want. So let's say, let's go ahead and add, let's add company. We're gonna have this be one direction from Salesforce to Jira. And let's map this to, let's map it to the external ID field in this case. Actually, no, let's do labels. Labels is probably a better bet here. So we're gonna add labels. I'm gonna add field mapping. And you'll notice down here, it's now added at the field mapping. So you've got company to labels. So now when I save this integration, the integration runs, the company will come over, and this allows the teams in Jira to maybe do searches on companies. How many features have we done for a particular company, or how many defects have been reported through Salesforce for a particular company. You have the ability down here to actually modify the direction if you need to. And then as you guys saw earlier, you can set up your field mappings here. So you know if you have multiple values for a field, you have the ability to map those back and forth. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna save this. With any good demo, you should always get an error message. Well, let's try this again here. Go ahead and back to modify here. Would be a good demo without us. Let's see, what did we do? We did, let's do company to external ID, one way. Add field mapping here. All right, let's try saving that again. All right, so you'll notice you also, we treat this like code, so you have the ability to put information in so that people can come back later to understand what changes were made. Added company field. I'm gonna go ahead and save that mapping. Notifies me that there's mandatory fields that aren't mapped. For the sake of this, we're gonna say okay and move on. And then we're gonna say okay. So now, we have an integration. The integration is flowing, and we've gone ahead and made adjustments to it. And the other great thing about all of this is as the teams are working in Salesforce, they're working in Jira, maybe you have other tools in the organization. All of that data is being recorded. If you have our database adapter, it's being recorded into our analytics model, and then you're able to do reporting from it. So just to give you an example, here's some of the various lean metrics that we're pulling out of the tool. Allows you, defect ratio, your lead time, cycle time. So in this case, where customer reports an issue, lead time is a great way for us to know from the time the customer reports that issue until that issue makes it into production. So in this case, we would be tracking that information from the Salesforce case when it was created until when the Jira work is closed and that particular artifact or code or whatever it is installed in production. So that said, that's kind of the highlight and overview. Let's get back to PowerPoint here. So as I mentioned, there's a number of other ways we can do this. Are there any questions? Anybody have anything you're interested in? Anything I didn't cover that you'd like to talk about? We've got a Q&A session set up here. We can, yes. So one of the questions is, can you get the customer's name in Jira? Yes, you absolutely can. What we have the ability to do, you guys saw me add the company name. If customer name is if you're collecting that in Salesforce, you can absolutely map that over to Jira, and maybe you map it to the label field, or maybe you create a custom field in Jira called customer name. You can map that Salesforce customer to the Jira custom fields. I got another question here. Can you sync comments? Yes. So when we're syncing back and forth, we are syncing comments and we're syncing attachments as well. So that if the customer, maybe the customer posted some images of what they're looking for, you can sync that information into Jira. Or maybe the development team drew up kind of a wireframe idea of what they thought the customer wanted. They could post the images into Jira. Those would flow back into Salesforce, and the customer or the account rep or however your process is set up would be notified, and they could look at those images and sign off on them. Same with comments. So you could use that as a way to communicate with the customer. You can post comments, customer can post comments back, and they would flow back and forth. Anybody else have any other questions, any other comments? All right, well, then I hope that this was helpful and beneficial. If you guys are interested in learning more about ConnectALL, you can always go to our website. You can also check these out. We do this webinar demo every Friday at 1 o'clock, and each week is a different topic, a different tool integration that we're doing. So you can definitely come back in another Friday and check out some of the other information we're doing. That said, I hope everybody has a wonderful weekend, and thank you guys for attending.